Ben Youngs backs Antoine Dupont to silence doubters. After injury disrupted return, few players in modern rugby carry the weight of expectation quite like Antoine Dupont. The France and Toulouse scrum-half has redefined what is possible in the number 9 jersey, blending power, vision, pace, and game intelligence to such an extent that every appearance is judged against the highest imaginable standard. When Dupont returned to competitive action last month following yet another serious knee injury, scrutiny was always going to be intense. After 6 appearances for Toulouse, 3 of them starts, questions have inevitably surfaced about whether the 29-year-old has fully rediscovered his brilliance. England's most capped men's international, Ben Youngs, has no such doubts. Speaking after watching Dupont in Toulouse's narrow 20-14 defeat to Saracens at Stonex Stadium in the Investec Champions Cup, Youngs delivered a calm and reasoned verdict on a player he knows better than most, both as an opponent and as a fellow scrum-half. Operating under relentless pressure, a comeback under the microscope. Dupont's latest injury setback came in cruel circumstances. During France's Six Nations victory over Ireland in Dublin last March, the scrum-half suffered a second anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, rupture, ruling him out for 9 months and casting uncertainty over the short-term future of both Toulouse and Les Bleus. ACL injuries are career-altering at the best of times. A second rupture, particularly for a player whose game relies on explosive acceleration, balance, and change of direction, only amplifies the challenge. That context is often lost amid the noise. Since returning to action last month, Dupont has featured in 6 matches for Toulouse, gradually increasing his workload. 3 of those appearances have been starts, including back-to-back Champions Cup defeats on artificial 4G pitches in the UK, against Glasgow Warriors and Saracens. Those losses have left the 6-time European champions in an uncharacteristically precarious position. Toulouse currently sit 4th in their pool and must defeat Sale Sharks at home next weekend to avoid a shock early exit from Europe's premier club competition. For a side accustomed to dominating continental rugby, the situation feels almost surreal. Youngs. The expectation is unreal. Ben Youngs was present at Stonex Stadium as Toulouse battled Saracens in wet, unforgiving conditions. A match that was far from ideal for a player still finding rhythm after a long rehabilitation. Despite Dupont's flashes of quality, his influence was limited, prompting some observers to question whether the French star is fully back to his best with the Six Nations just weeks away. Youngs, however, believes that view misunderstands both the player and the recovery process. "I never wore skins when I played," Youngs said in his For the Love of Rugby column for Planet Rugby. But if there's a man who can pull it off, is Antoine Dupont. The reference to Dupont wearing compression skins under his shorts on artificial surfaces sparked discussion in its own right, a visible reminder of the physical and mental barriers that remain after a major knee injury. For Youngs, it was simply further evidence of a player managing his return responsibly. "What you are seeing with him is huge expectation," Youngs explained. "But you've also got to remember he was out for 9 months, and it wasn't the first time he had done his ACL. It was his second." The reality of returning from a second ACL injury. Young's assessment cuts to the heart of the issue. Elite athletes often return to action long before they feel fully themselves. Medical clearance does not automatically equal confidence, consistency, or sharpness, especially in a sport as demanding as rugby. Dupont's game is built on instinct, spontaneity, and physical dominance around the breakdown. Those qualities cannot be switched back on overnight. He is just returning and showing glimpses of form in the top 14. Youngs continued. "We are still waiting for it in Europe, but it will come." For Youngs, the long view is the only sensible one. "He is the world's best 9, he said. "It's just a matter of getting a few more games, having a bit more consistency, and he will be absolutely flying." I have no doubt. The hidden factor, artificial surfaces. One element Youngs believes has been underplayed is the impact of playing on 4G pitches, particularly for someone returning from knee surgery. Dupont's Champions Cup starts came at Saracens and Glasgow, 2 venues known for their fast, unforgiving artificial surfaces. "What is going on is just the effects of having a long-term injury and coming back," Youngs said. It was also playing on a 4G pitch at Saracens and Glasgow. Even for fully fit players, artificial surfaces demand adaptation. For someone still regaining trust in their knee, the mental toll can be significant. In the back of your mind, you're probably a bit more wary of your knee on surfaces like that, Youngs added, so all those things came into play. That caution may explain moments where Dupont looked less assertive than usual. Choosing safety over risk and control over chaos, Toulouse European predicament. Dupont's return has coincided with a turbulent European campaign for Toulouse. Defeats to Glasgow and Saracens have left them on the brink of a stunning pool stage exit, a scenario few would have predicted at the start of the tournament. However, Youngs remains convinced that class will tell. It seems unimaginable that Toulouse could be in this situation where they don't get out of Pool 1, he said. It would be absolutely bonkers if that happened. With Sale Sharks already qualified, Toulouse will host the English side knowing that only a victory guarantees progress. I can only see Toulouse turning up the heat at home and beating Alex Anderson's side, Youngs predicted. For Dupont, the match represents a golden opportunity, not just to help his team advance, but to deliver a statement performance ahead of France's Six Nations opener. Six Nations looms large. France begin their title defense on February 5th at home to Ireland, a blockbuster fixture that will immediately test Dupont's readiness for Test rugby. There is little doubt that Fabien Galthy will persist with his captain if fit. Dupont's influence on France's tempo, kicking game, and attacking structure remains unmatched. Youngs believes that any concerns will evaporate quickly once Dupont strings together consecutive matches. Once he gets that consistency and rhythm, he'll be back to doing what he does best, he said. The expectation is always sky high with him. That's the price you pay for being the best. Youngs on England's next generation of scrum-halves. Much of Young's attention was focused on Dupont. His weekend also offered an intriguing glimpse into the future of English rugby. On the same day, Youngs watched Charlie Bracken come off the bench for Saracens, just hours after observing Lucas Friday start at scrum-half for Harlequins at the Twickenham Stoop. For a man who defined England's number 9 role for over a decade, the emergence of multiple young talents is an encouraging sign. I was at StoneX Stadium and Twickenham Stoop last Sunday and really enjoyed what I saw at scrum-half and the home teams. Young said that a new crop of English 9s Bracken, Friday, and Northampton's Archie McParland represent what Young sees as a promising generation coming through. When you look at Saracens sub Charlie Bracken and Lucas Friday, who started for Harlequins, you are beginning to see the next crop of young England 9s coming through, he explained. There was also Archie McParland, who played off the Northampton Saints bench in France. So there's a real sort of little crop of 9s all coming through. Youngs emphasized the importance of exposure and patience, lessons learned over his own long international career. The more games you see them play, the better they will become. Praise for Charlie Bracken and Lucas Friday. Despite challenging weather conditions at StoneX Stadium, Youngs was particularly impressed with Bracken's composure. Given the conditions Bracken was dealing with, he kicked particularly well for Saracens, he noted. His core skills were very impressive, and he is someone to look out for. Friday, meanwhile, caught the eye with his authority and decision-making at Harlequins. Friday was also very impressive, Youngs added. For England, long searching for stability and depth at scrum-half, the emergence of multiple young options could not be more timely. Perspective over Panic. Young's reflections on Dupont ultimately offer a valuable reminder. Greatness does not disappear overnight, nor does it instantly reappear after injury. Antoine Dupont's return is not a sprint. It is a carefully managed process shaped by physical recovery, confidence, match rhythm, and context. As Youngs made clear, the flashes are already there. Consistency will follow, and when it does, the world's best scrum half is likely to remind everyone exactly why the expectation surrounding him is so enormous, and why patience, in this case, will almost certainly be rewarded.